Welcome back into the ink, my traumatized Octolings. This weekend, I got a pulse on Splatoon 3 Side Order. I waited a long time to say that. Despite only properly beating it this week, Octo Expansion has sat comfortably as my definitive favorite 3D gaming experience of all time for a while now. It's got vibes from Millennia, gripping and edgy gameplay, and a story that sits really deep in my chest. As I mentioned in Squid A, Side Order already resonates with my Radiohead kid neurons, but I'll admit, I've been really worried about how good a Nintendo roguelite can actually be. Saving post-tutorial spoilers till a dedicated story bit at the end, I'd like to report on dreamy vibes, a promising progression system, and a story that hints at everything I wanted. Once again, I have some feelings about other seemingly unrelated stuff that Side Order shares a overarching vibe with. The dream logic the story unfolds with was a surprise. The first moments are delightfully calm and otherworldly, from Pearl's confusion at being a drone to the sense of zen in the foyer. Light bounces all around like a tranquil dream, flowers unfold in the water, and it's a whole feeling that I didn't pick up on in the trailers. We have arrived at Cyber Dystopia X Soothing Flowers in my 2024 with the UI of Gunvolt 3, but it's deeper here. GV3 is like Shrine Maiden is friends with Cyber Soldier Boy, so we will show you that visually, while Side Order is more of an overarching digital therapy vibe. Though we are warned about the destruction of Inkling Will by the evil forces that are at play here, the positive intention behind this world called the Memverse reminds us of the healing potential of Order 2, and that's important to this. The moon jelly motif that I noticed in the menu feels really emblematic of the vibe that kind of leapt out when I actually had my hands on this game. It's flawlessly round, it's blissfully floating on the whims of the ocean, with a little hint of warmth in the flower pattern. I strongly encourage anybody really into this vibe to check out the recently popular Frutiger Arrow music, if that's anything interesting to you. It's been a pretty nice vibe for me. Besides dream and eerie orderly bliss, Side Order has a ring octopus thing going on. 8 has different colored hair tips in addition to her rings, and I'm very invested in this. Orange, blue, and purple tips seem to show their own distinct patterns on my ink once you spread it, and it's really satisfying. I don't know how we get this ink modification, like it must be palette related because they share colors. If we unlock this customization option for the main game, I will be a happy pony, just like hair tips or something. That'd be so nice. Yeah, ink is sort of like a glittery material this time, a chunky glitter. My only true qualm with Side Order is, why does it sound like sandpaper when we swim in the glitter? Even using the umbrella, I was like, yeesh, sounds kind of rough when my blorps blop down. I'm kind of coming around to this, I think, but like the sensory aspect of it was just eeping me out. I didn't like sliding around much at all. It has a certain heavy feeling, maybe, which could fit the less movement-based action, but, Alright, yeah, the action. So, can Nintendo actually make a good roguelite? They literally fear complexity, and they dislike making players grind for long-term extrinsic payoff. Like, that's sort of major if you want a deep roguelite experience. Fortunately, I'm feeling pretty hopeful. The key here is that Splatoon gameplay is really fun, so modifying it and adding zany wacko stuff like homing missiles and squid roll attacks goes a really long way. I'm having a great time starting off with trying to make the Brella and Stringer more fun to use. I appreciate how stuff that isn't great in turf or ranked can have a second life here, or maybe a third with a salmon run. Like the sprinklers, I avoid them on the incline bow and the vanilla blob, but I love them for moving my tower thing, the little vial, and wearing down hordes. The funny story is apparently people are making the bow out to be broken in these early weeks. After a player named Edito placed on top of Genesis with a bow, the community's been lit up, and I actually went in. I just gave up and joined my friends finally instead of suffering in silence, and now I'm in a big Discord talking to other vanilla mains. What a funny timing that is, because we're all D tiers, and now we have this giant W from Genesis, and now there's all these memes about the Stringer. It's pretty funny, actually. Now, thing about the stringer is you walk slow as heck when you're using it, and I got clobbered my first time. My second run, though, is still going because I added movement speed and I added roll attacks to my squid rolls. And yeah, that's been really balancing out that sweet, sweet candy I went for with the explosion range up. Like, that wasn't enough on its own. I gotta be able to bounce around to get the little guys. It feels like I'm taking my stringer to therapy, something we actively needed and I consciously thought about before this, and just playing around with the possibilities is great. Getting super deep with the Brella felt the same way. I always find it kind of clumsy in Turf 4, even though I do try it, especially lately. And it's just been like, you know, I was able to sit down and have an hour of fun experimenting with it. It's pretty much this. Like, my first thesis on this, my first Pulse thesis, is that this mode feels like a way to really sink into a weapon and play around with it. Just really appreciate a weapon. It's really fun. This gets amplified by my favorite structural element, the keys in the locker. Dead Cells players will tell you the game only begins after your first victory because boss cells create a larger vertical progression of difficulty to work through. Your first W makes your second run harder, and then your second makes your third one harder, and so on and so forth. There's this longer system to work through with all of your Ws. So Side Order doesn't do that to my knowledge, but it creates a horizontal progress. I don't think it gives you like a boss cell or anything, but it will give you a new weapon to try the same thing with. You kind of step to the right or left, you have a new way to do the same thing, and you expand through new ways to play it. One victory barely makes a dent in the overall locker progress. This means that, like, yeah, the game really only has begun at floor 30, and you're encouraged to beat it over and over in new ways. Not harder, just different. This works out pretty good for me, because I've been wanting to dabble in, like, every gun lately, and I'll totally work down that locker. However, I do kind of doubt this is going to make everybody feel like their money was well spent. I think a lot of people are just going to pretty much like beat the tower with one of like the weirdo things, then unlock their favorite main, then like unlock their other main, maybe beat it 3 times and be done. I think there's going to be some dissatisfaction there. However, there is a crucial thing you would miss out on doing that, and it is so important to me. Here is our story segment. There is story in those lockers. Now, as we move to the spoilers, I'll say it's really not that much. I just think that they hit a lot after the tutorial. So after 10 floors, the tutorial is over and the story really opens up. You get the title and everything. Nintendo presents Side Order. So if you don't want to see what happens after that, click away. I've only got to level 12 and level 15 on my runs after tutorial, so I don't know a lot of the story, but I will be talking about some premise stuff not in the trailers. So, you still with me? I have said it many times in many ways, but Off the Hook has this crazy level of characterization and nuance that is just so different from the other idols. Callie and Marie are like the OG Vocaloids with these very vague, broad personalities, and Deep Cut are like anime tropes with little twists, like a Love Live idol. But Off the Hook are like these recent gotcha girls from like music games with 80 focus stories about their realistic high school drama and their like real world emotional issues that are so subtly realized you can feel it. They're just given so much room to blossom in these DLCs. As I said in my collab with Aqua Twist, link right here, Marina's chat room fleshes them out so richly, and my #1 desire for Side Order was more of that. So, I win again! The dance that my neurons did when I saw Marina's Instagram was both stellar and resplendent. This promises another deep, deep dive into her and Pearl, and are they really gay? Are they gayer? I've heard from people that Marina got kind of de-gayed in localization, and yeah, that's a really intimate picture of Pearl you have there as your laptop wallpaper, Marina. Between the singular they that I saw for Deadfish, after Pearl already had met them, and the Pearl appreciation post on the first story, I'm like, is Side Order gonna do a LGBT this weekend? Like, am I gonna be seeing discourse about this for months? My hopes are pretty measured, but it was a nice surprise. The big kicker though, the big kicker is what she says about Kamaboko and wanting to heal 8 in the company through the Memverse here. This made me yelp. Tartar made me furious as a villain in the Octo expansion. When I realized he was using the tests to make brave, strong, clever, resilient goop out of everybody who survived the ordeals like 8 did, I was messed up for an evening. It really takes how you feel playing Octo expansion and flips it on its head. I wanted so bad this presence of Deadfish and 8 and Marina to suggest we'd continue handling damaged Octos, and it seems we will. I have no idea what's gonna come story-wise, but oh my god, yes! Marina Ida's Octoling therapy program is a go. Octo Expansion may have been my favorite story Nintendo has ever told alongside Metroid Dread, because I have had a very normal and healthy life so far, and dedicating this whole thing to musing about Will and healing the Octoling sounds like a really good pause before the story starts its new leg in Splatoon 4. A game which is the next time we're gonna get more story, huh? I'll just kinda be feasting on these games for a while. I've got a lot left to play. I wanna use a lot of weapons. I still use so few of them. I want to try all these new kits, 1, 2, and 3, all the games. I want to do more Octo expansion stuff, play side order till it's boring. I'm going to be playing a lot more Splatoon. It was great to be able to cover this. This is an awesome hype cycle. It's been so fun partying with everybody all weekend. Do I think Octo Expansion Part 2 side order is going to hold up perfectly? No, I have some concerns about how people will generally receive it, but I'm going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to dive back into that glittery sandpaper, and I'll see y'all soon.